I'm starting a brand new save, attempting to get from the lower leagues in Spain to La Liga. But yes, indeed, there is a huge catch. When it comes to creating a tactic, I'm not allowed to use a meta tactic. Yep, that means no higher tempo, no counter press, counter combination, and absolutely no much more often pressing, no get stuck in, and no high press. So we're going to have to come up with a different way to win. And this late in the Football Manager cycle, I'm quite looking forward to this. So welcome to Spain and welcome to Badalona. Now these are the poor neighbours, if you like, of Barcelona. There you go, there is the area of Catalonia that is Badalona, and just down the road is Barcelona. So the goal is to get this team into La Liga and get them in a match against Barcelona. And we're going to do it, like I said in the intro, using a large degree of anti-meta tactics. There's going to be a lot of things we don't use that nearly every successful tactic does incorporate. So to counter-attack that, we need to really rely on the players' strengths that we've got in the squad and the ones we managed to bring in. Now, as you can see, the day one squad is absolutely tiny. In fact, we've only got 15 professional players at the club currently. And that's not going to change a great deal because we've got a transfer budget of 0 and a negative wage budget already. Now, Badalona start in the Segunda Federación Grupo 3. So, there's a long way to go. Now, these divisions are split into quite a few subdivisions. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6. There's loads of them. I've lost count. Then if you get up there, you can move up to the next stage, the Primera, and then after you get through that, you get to the second La Liga level, and then you've got to the main La Liga level. So we've got a big journey to go. So I've started to put them into a tactic to get us going. This is the first version of the tactic. I'm sure it's going to change. So if we focus on the team instructions first, that's mostly the area where these meta things come in. In possession, there you can see I'm going pretty slim line. I'm only going to use play out defense and lower tempo at the minute. We might nudge it up to slightly lower, but one thing we will not be doing is cranking it right up to higher tempo. There's going to be no higher tempo football this entire save. So down it goes to slightly lower or lower, one of the two. There's going to be no run at defense, and there's going to be no play for set pieces either. So into transition we go. I'm toying with allowing myself to have one or the other, either counter press or counter, but we won't be using both of them. 99% of these really successful tactics have both of them. So it'll either be one or the other, probably counter press, because I think I'm going to go for more of a possession game. The teams in the real world that do possession, they do apply pressure as soon as they lose the ball to get it back. After that, we'll either hold our shape or simply let the players do what they want. And out of possession, there'll be absolutely no much more often. The most we're going to go is more often, but most of the time we'll probably have it at standard and pick out the players in the game and the player instructions who we want to press more. And absolutely no, get stuck in. That is out of the equation. Not forgetting, there'll be no high press. So we can either go mid block or we can go low block, but we're not going to go high press. So all that means it's going to be pretty tricky. So what we need to do is, because we've got pretty slimline team instructions, we need to use the players and their strengths to get a tactic working really well. Now, if I pick out one player here, Severa, let's have a little look at him. This is Danny Severa. He's not a bad player at this level. You can see he's an advanced playmaker, attacking central midfielder. His attribute range, his standouts are his flair and his passing and his vision. Therefore, I've asked him to take more risks. He can dribble as well with 12, so he's going to dribble more, shooting more often because he's got long shots of 11, and I want him to get further forward. That's kind of the baseline of what we want to do for each player. If I look at his midfield partner, Markel Rodriguez, he's only got to take fewer risks and get further forward, because if I look at him, his passing and his flair are okay, but his vision's not very good at 7, so I don't want him to play crazy passes. But he does have a player trait that arrives late in opponent's area, so I'm going to ask him to get further forward. Similar story with the fullbacks. At the minute, I've got this player on an inverted wing back. That might change, but what won't change is I'm going to ask him to take fewer risks, because his passing is 8 and his vision is 5. So he's not good enough. He's just going to give the ball away. If I was just trying to dominate and get this team guaranteed promotion, these two would be on wing-back attack. They'd be crossing from the byline, taking more risks, yada, yada, yada. But we're not going to do that. Now, our first preseason game was against top-level team Lens, so that's a tricky start, and by half-time, it wasn't looking pretty. We were getting overrun, and my minimalistic tactic was getting exposed quite a lot. By half-time, it was 4-0. So I made some changes to certain positions. This is what preseason is all about, trying to find your best team and best setup. And in the second half, we were absolutely superb. Lens couldn't score against us that half, and we scored twice and won the half 2-0. The game ends 4-2, but as you can see from the match momentum, we turned it around completely in the second half. Standout player in that game, and probably my standout player all of pre-season, was Jean-Paul Njoli. He's French, he's 23. I'm not sure how he's landed at Barcelona, but as you can see from his attribute spread, pretty good all-round player. And I've moved quickly to seal him to a longer-term contract till 2026 because most of the squad are out of contract at the end of the season. So I expect a big turnover and we don't have a lot of money. So rather than bring in higher wage player, I got him locked down. But I have managed to bulk the squad out with a good amount of free transfers because we're going to need them. We can't go in with 15 first team players. All these aren't mine. Mine are about halfway through here. So we've got them into this sort of system. Now, the type of level of player we're able to attract at this level is Kalu Uche. Now, he's been around the block a bit. Check out his career. And the funny thing is, he's only just younger than me. He's 41 years of age. I've got him for a season because he can play any of the front positions and his wages weren't crazy. Now, his physicals are drastically on the decline. So I'm hoping to use him off the bench. The other player I brought in who probably will make an impact is Paulo Liago. Now, he's Spanish and I was able to get him from Sporting on loan because he is Spanish. He's 17, so if he was from Portugal, he wouldn't be allowed to move over. But because he's a Spanish national, we've managed to get him on loan for a season. Now, he started out at Real Madrid. He's probably going to be a really good player in a few years' time, but we're going to try and nurture him and see what he can do for us this season. Great first touch, good technical player. He's probably going to start most games in midfield. And because he can play higher up as well, he does give us the option of just changing to a more attacking 4-2-3-1 if we need to. I changed the position of the left back, mostly because I want to use his crossing ability. He's got good crossing ability, he's got good pace. Now, he can't pass for toffee and his vision's terrible. But he is a good defender at this level. His tackling's good, his marking's good, his position's good, and his decisions are good. He's not a bad left back. They say he's a better full back on defence, and it's not hard to see why, but I want to get him higher up the pitch to do the crossing. So that'll be a key position. I've gone for a flat 3 in midfield. We've got 2 more attacking midfielders either side of a deep lying playmaker. Nando Caseda, first touch is good, his technique's good, his passing and vision are more than good enough for this level, and he can drop back as well. If we're trying to hold on to a lead, he can drop into a more traditional looking 4-3-3. But like I say, this will probably morph as the season goes on. For example, I've got my main man, my striker here, as a complete forward. And if you go by his star ratings, he wants none of it, but you tell me he can't do it. He's 6'2". He's pretty much the all-round striker. So I've got him trying to learn that role now, but his player traits do stand out. He likes to try to beat the offside trap, so he's probably a better advanced forward. But in games where the opposition have a high defensive line, we'll probably change that to advanced forward so he can beat the offside trap. On the flip side, if teams are defending deep, I might even drop him back to a deep line forward so he can drop deep and make the centre-backs follow him. For example, in this pre-season friendly, I played him as a deep line forward so he could be a bit more of a creator to get the inside forwards in the game, and it works a treat here as he drops off deep and lays the through ball. So we're about to start our first season. What to expect, I'm not so sure. Now, as far as pre-season odds go, we're not particularly fancied, are we, in 15th at 50-1. There's definitely some teams that are much more fancied at 2-1, 12-5, 5-2. Now, the setup of the league is 1 automatic and then 4 go into the playoffs, where I believe you go up against the teams that finish in the playoff situations in the other groupos, as you can see. So it's going to be a draw situation. So we just need to finish as high up as we can and try and shoot for these playoffs. During pre-season, the tactic did morph. At the minute, I've got a regroup on, but I might switch that to counter press in certain matches. It all depends, but I've got a couple of versions to switch between. I'm not settled yet. We will find out as the season gets going. One other thing to point out is the facilities at this club, despite being quite low down in Spain, they're not too bad. Youth facilities are at 11, academy coaching is also at 10, with youth recruitment at 10. So maybe we'll be able to get some players in. They are playing at this stadium at the minute in Vic, Spain, but I do believe that's due to some conflict over in Spain. This is not their home stadium. The season began with a 3-2 defeat. We've battled hard but weren't good enough. But as expected, Jean-Paul was proving to be the main man as we got our first win in our first home game. We made it 2 in a row with a big win against pre-season favourites Ibiza, and we're just on the back of a really good run, including 2 back-to-back 4-1 wins, and the start of the season has been fantastic. After 7 matches, we're sitting top, but it's going to be a super tight league. So we've started well. Another standout has been Andres here. He wants to be a striker, but because I'm in the Jean-Paul business, I've moved him out to inside forward. Not traditional either, because he's right-footed and he's going to play on the right. Normally I'd have to have a left side player on there, but because he's playing outside there on the right-hand side, his striker instincts mean he gets in the box a lot. He scored 5 in 7. And you can tell he's a natural striker. As soon as he gives the ball up, he gets himself inside the box most of the time, and his finishing is really good. Now, I used those first early season matches for more tactic tweaking. There's been a couple of role changes. We've got a couple of fullbacks on attack now, and in the Team instructions, you can see there is an overlap right and left. This depends on what we're playing against. If we're playing against a narrow team, we'll use that. If it's a more traditional one, we go to this one, which has got a couple of underlaps to get the central midfielders involved as well. I am using counter press. I have gone for that, but it is situational. I will knock that back to regroup on occasions if we take the lead 2-0. So flying high at the top of the league, but then we start to hit a few roadblocks. It's going to be a long season, this. And there was a theme in the goals we were conceding, a load coming from crosses. The data hub was telling me that as well, because I checked the last 10 matches and 7 of the goals conceded were coming from crosses. And you can see the change in our fortunes. That great start has been levelled out by a really, really bad run. So we've been on a shocking run, and I've made some more tactical tweaks, and I'm hoping these ones will get us back on track. Just some tiny tweaks in terms of player instructions, player roles, and we've dropped the overlap. We only bring that in situational. If it looks like it's going to work, I'll try it in match. But that move to make Philip OC an attacking fullback has been the right move. He's got 7 assists, so he's doing his job down that left-hand side. But I am having problems in front of him. Franco has just scored a couple, so he might be the answer. But other than that, the output from the left-hand side has not matched the output from the right-hand side, where Andres has scored 9 times. So more tweaking to the tactic led to us going on our best run of the season so far, and Paulo Iago, the player on loan from Sporting, was proven to be a big catalyst in that change. He's now scored 3 times with 3 assists, and his attributes are on the rise, so Sporting are going to be happy. And since January, we're on pretty decent form. We've only lost the 3 matches, and we have risen to 3rd in the league. Here is a slight change. I was having problems down that left-hand side, so I've just abandoned it. I've abandoned it and moved the player inside. Now, when he's not on international duty, it's Paulo, but because he is an under-17 player, he's continuously getting called up by the under-19, so he misses a chunk of matches. But when he's playing there, he's pretty much the perfect player to play there. I let him roam around a little bit. He's got only the player instruction of stay wider, so he just try to cover that area. But also, he's been that good down that left-hand side. I don't think he needs the backup. When I watch it in match, he gets up and down that flank. He's got 12 assists now and spends most of his time up there. So I just thought, let's have him kind of assisting, but getting involved backing up the striker, Jean Paul, who is currently a deep line forward, but that has changed so much. If I look at his form here, he's played the last 5 games as a deep line forward. Before that, he was a complete forward, experimented a bit with advanced forward, but his attributes are on the rise. I think he could be a player that stays with us throughout here, because I really like him, and he scored 15 times in 23, and he doesn't take penalties. So it's at 3rd. If you look at the past positions, that was our rise at the start of the season, then that is the massive slump we had. We went down to 7th, and then it got a bit worse and went down to 9th. But now on recovery period, in at least playoff zone, and we're kind of steady now. 4th place, 3rd place. But there's not long of the season to go. It looks like Cornella are out of sight. They've got 62 points. We've got 49. So we just need to stay in these playoffs. And basically, everyone down to 11th has probably got a shout of being in these playoffs. So a classic thing when you use the meta tactics is you got to be top of fouls made table and yellow cards. But as you can see, we're nowhere to be seen in the top echelons of that, so that's a good sign. We're more focusing on the other side of the game. Our possession, which was 2nd, the pass completion ratio is joint top basically. Passes attempted were right up there as well, and chances created is good. So that's what I'm wanting to see, and pretty happy with that so far. I'd say we're probably conceding too many goals. We are the top scorers in the league with 61, but we've conceded 53. Everyone else seems to focus on defence. That's probably got a lot to do with us trying to find our settled formation, because I have been tweaking an awful lot, and someone like Marcos at the back here, one of my better defenders, I've moved him around a bit. As you can see, I tried him as a libero, got him back as a central defender now. I'm going to probably stick with that. Finish off the season with back-to-back wins looking really good. So this included a really good away victory at Cornella, that team that was way clear on the top of the table. It meant we are the form team in the league at the minute, and we go into the playoff situation finishing 3rd. And do you know what? We only finished 5 points behind Cornella, so if we've got our act together a bit earlier, we might have had a chance of automatic promotion. We've stuck with this. It looks like the way forward for this season at least. Paulo's been superb the last few games. 6 assists, 4 goals. We really need to try and get him to extend it till next season. We'll see if Sporting will let us have him. And up front, thank the Lord that we extended that contract when we did, because 18 goals this season, I'm guessing people will be sniffing around him. However, there is a load of players like Severa here who are going to be out of contract soon, and I can't renew it. He's only on £275 a week, but when I've tried to renew his contract, there we are. Nothing outrageous here. All he wants is £525. I can only give him £275, which is currently on, and obviously he's not taking that. And as I look at the contract expiring, you can see that, oh my God, it's worse than I thought. So everybody other than Uche and Anjoli are out of contract in about a month's time. So our season record there, before the playoffs, we played 34 matches, we won 19 of them, so just over half, 55% win percentage, good goal scoring record. We just need to sort out this goals against because 57 is way too many. So into the playoffs, we were drawn against Logrones. And in the home leg, we absolutely battered them, and Jean Paul had a party. The big man up front ended up scoring 4 times in this crucial match. They couldn't deal with him as we put 5 past them, gave ourselves a great chance going into the second leg. And in the second leg, we pretty much locked it down, drawing 1-1, taking the aggregate score 3-6. Which means in the promotion playoff final, we would go up against Aguilar FC. They were in Grupo Cuatro, and as you can see, they were pretty well decent in their league, finishing second. So this could be a tough challenge. So we go into this one with nearly a fully fit squad, which is good news, good news. Now, a lot of these players are going to believe in us at the end of the season. I'm going to try and get some locked in and keep them. But for now, this could be their last couple of games for us. The other big news is the youth candidates have came through, and at our level, it's an excellent intake. You can see them down here. Robert is one of the key players. I mean, a 15-year-old with finishing of 10, first touch of 12, flair 13. He could be something special. Now, all of these lot I've signed. I'm just going to sign them all because they might end up playing next season. We went ahead early with a spot kick. And we got another one. But for some reason, he got cocky and did this. And they took advantage by equalising on the 42nd minute. Pretty disappointing draw, that. Big game then in the second leg. Started really well. With Aguilar stepping up quite a lot, I'm going to change Jean Paul to an advance forward. Extra time. Yeah, we're starting to get battered here. I won't lie, we got pretty battered there. Our man of the match was our goalkeeper, Yaroslav. Penalties. Wait, what? What's that mean? Note to self, check the rules. I guess we better plan for the new season then. A season for which, at the minute, I've got 2 players. One of those is 42. Oh no, he's retiring as well. So I've got 1. Right, into pre-season. So what I've done is I've allowed those contracts to run out on most of the players. And as you can see, the squad is tiny. Looks even worse on the tactics screen where I've basically lost a full defence and a midfielder. But the players that do remain have all re-signed. And crucially, that does include Paulo Liago from Sporting. So I've had a think, and we're never going to have a lot of money at this club, especially in these early days. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prioritise the first 11. So whatever wages I've freed up, I'm going to spend on them. And those exciting youth players that came through the youth candidates, I'm going to use them as the backups. So a player like Robert, who's only 15, shortly 16, so he can take part, I think he can do a job off the bench. He's got plenty of double-figure attributes. He looks like a decent player. Now, granted, we don't have a lot of wage budget, 3,000 a week, which might get me 4 or 5 players for that starting 11. So if we fast forward to the end of pre-season, you can see we have brought in a good amount of players, and we've got a link with Sporting, which I'm quite excited about. So I've got a good relationship with Sporting's B team, so I've managed to bring in 3 more players, which could be the difference between us getting promotion. First one in is Jose Silva. Going to play as an attacking fullback. Check that out, double figures all over the board. Next, I think this will be my new midfielder, Rafael Basugo. Passing to 13, vision's good, good technical player. And finally, for a new option up front is Rafael Nel. He could be the standout player, probably one of the better players in the league. The rest of the players, some of them are going to be starting at centre-back, such as Olaz, and then we've got Victor Ruiz, who can play a few positions that's going to be handy. It's a boy who comes in from African football. Got a big emphasis on this save in getting players from African football, and I've opened up that entire database, so we should see a lot more players coming through. He's one central midfielder, but check out his adaptability higher up. He could even play up front. What that means is the tactic looks a lot better now, as does the squad. It looks a lot fuller. And we've got 3 versions of this tactic to try and get Nel involved. He's there at the minute, but he's more of a striker. He's not going to play there. He's not going to play there. More likely, the man to play there will be Danny Sevilla. He's going to slot in there. Basugo will be our deep line playmaker, and it's going to look a bit like that. It's a far stronger team than we had last season. Now, to fit these boys in, another option may be the 4-3-3, or we go 2 up front, simply moving that attacking midfielder into like a wide striker position. They're the options. So the squad is still small. I won't lie to you, it is still small. There is a couple of the youngsters on the bench there, like Robert, and the backup keeper is the 16-year-old. Let's hope we don't have to use him. If we do get in trouble, we can jump into the dev centre, get some of these youngsters involved as well. But we don't have the money. We're already in the wage budget deficit, so this is pretty much what we're going to go in with. But I think those signings specifically from Sporting have had an effect on our perception in the season preview. You can see we're ranked as third now, third best team in the league. Valencia still way favourites for the league at 2-9. You'll also notice there's another team from Badalona. There is 2 Badalona teams. 2. Messy history where breakups, merges, loads of stuff like that going on. But we're going to have a derby as well. So after a strong pre-season, I was excited to see how this new look team would fare in the league. And we started out with a game against Torrent away from home. That 1-0 win was followed by our first home game of the season, and it was back-to-back wins. And we've just played our third game of the season, and it's another win. 3 wins out of 3. This one, the most impressive. Not only is it away from home, but we absolutely dominated. I'm going to show you the match stats in a minute, but everything was working absolutely perfectly. So we win 3-1, but 64% ball possession. Shots, 24 shots with 12 on target. This new look team are absolutely flying. And unlike last season where I was just trying to get a team together, this is very much now my team. So no excuses. We have the perfect start, but we need to stay there. The very least, it has to be playoffs. Has to be. Welcome back. It's halfway through the season, and the worst news I've got to tell you is that our boy Jean-Paul has agreed a move to Montpellier. They've triggered his release clause, which annoyingly is only 165,000. So I've left him out of the team for a while now because he's agreed to it a bit ago, and he's joining Montpellier next month. So that means Nels started to play. He wasn't in the team at the start, but he's in the team now and he scored 5 times. So it's a blooming good job that we sealed that deal. Now, as for the team, things have gone very well indeed. We carried on that momentum at the start of the season and undefeated all the way until October when Badalona beat us, of all teams. And check out this game. I mean, 25 shots we had. They had 5 and stole it in the 91st minute. To say I was raging was an understatement. But we picked ourselves up and went on another good run. We lost just recently against Barbastro and against Esportio. But we have just been the first team to beat Valencia Mestalla in the league this season through this goal from Chavera. That gave us a 1-0 win. And if you look at the league table, you can see how vital it is. That's their on your feet. We've had the 3, but we are top of the league now by 2 points going into the winter break. We have also just entered the Copa del Rey, and Albacete, a team from the second level, have just been beaten by us on penalties. So that's a nice little bonus. I'm hoping that a little cup run might help this because we are struggling in terms of balance. So when Jean-Paul does go, I don't expect much transfer budget, although they have given us 169k. I'll transfer that over to wage budget because we will need some players because as you can see, injuries are starting to tot up now. We've got 2 midfielders out and we've got a tiny squad. Season as a whole though has been going perfectly to what we are trying to achieve. Possession, we're top of that. Pass completion ratio is 90%. Beautiful. And that's led to chances created being 69. So we are doing what we need to do. Because remember, things like high intensity sprints were nowhere. And this is fouls made and we're down in 15th. Remember that meta thing of get stuck in. We don't do any of that. So that shows there is other ways that we can win. We have managed to sign a couple of players. Now there's players like this guy, Santino, who is Swedish, but he was at Real Sociedad. So there's loads of players that got released by the bigger teams that haven't been able to find a club. So along with Lucas Terra here, we've also picked up on a free transfer. We've managed to bulk out the squad quite nicely. So when Jean-Paul does leave shortly next week, this man is going to be his replacement. So we're back now late into the season and our exploits in the Copa del Rey meant we ended up playing Atletico Madrid at home. Do you know what? We put up a hell of an effort against one of the greatest teams in Europe as well. Finally succumbing to a 3-1 defeat, but I'm pretty proud of the boys. And as far as the league campaign has gone, since we were last with you, we've absolutely flew. We have just lost our last match, but with 4 games to go, we are top of the league and we are 8 points clear of Valencia, who have lost the same amount of matches as we have, but this season we've won 21 out of 30. Such a better season. We're averaging 2 goals a game 4 and we've only conceded 33, so we have tightened up massively at the back. There has been some outgoings, so at fullback, my relationship with Sporting is in the mud because they recalled our player that we had on loan from them, Jose Silva. They weren't happy. It's one of those annoying ones. They weren't happy that I was playing him every match, but I wasn't playing him as a wing back. I was playing him as a full back. So he leaves us having played 20 games for us with 4 assists, looked really good. Now he's gone back to Sporting. Now, what it does mean is I probably won't be able to get Basugu on loan again for next season, nor Paulo Liago. And even more annoyingly, probably not Rafanel. And that's a huge blow because he has scored 16 times for us in 20 matches. Sporting should be really happy with what we've done with him because every one of his attributes seems to be on the rise. But despite that, we did replace the fullback with another player on loan from Nastic. This is Emil Pruna, and I'm trying to get him to join us at the end of the season because he's going to be out of contract. And he's a nice solid player with 3 assists in his first 8 or so matches. As far as the other tactics goes, these ones and this one, I have not had to use them once. I've just kept this one ticking away and it's been absolutely fantastic. One more win will get us up, maybe two wins, and then we should be promoted on our journey up to the next tier. And one thing's for sure, now we're top of the league by 8 points. I do not want any part of these playoffs. So we're going into this home match against Atletico Baleares, and technically we can win the league here. If we win, Valencia Mestalla mess up, this could be the day that we claim the title. In the second half, this stunner from Paulo meant it was 2-0, and I reckon we've done our bit. And we've done it, we've got ourselves promoted. Let's not talk about the budgets for next season because initially they look pretty horrible. But in our second season, the good times be rolling. So we've done it 2 seasons in a weird way. It was probably better for us to not get promoted first time and go up this time because we're a better team. Although saying that, 3 of the better players are all going to be leaving us. But let's not worry about that. We actually nearly messed it up. Check it out. We got promoted despite losing against Terrassa 2-0 thanks to other results. If you look at the league, Valencia Mestalla lost again, so they can't catch us, and Sabadell, the other close challengers, only drew. But we've done it. I don't care how we get up. We are up. Now that means next season we go into these 2 leagues here. It looks like a similar structure, whereas the top team from each league will get promoted. Then you've got a playoff situation. So nothing complicated. We know what we need to do. But I think for next season, we just need to stay in the league because there is 5 teams that get put into the relegation zone in each of the 2 leagues, which is pretty brutal. So at this point, when I'm planning for a new season, I've got a couple of games left of this campaign, but I'm just thinking about next season. You take out which players aren't going to be there for next season and ones you'd like to potentially replace. For me, the right back's going to be going. I know I said I wanted to sign him, but he's turned us down to go to Real Murcia instead. So instantly I know I'm going to need a new right back. And then of course I've got my Sporting players that I won't be able to keep, so I'm going to need a new striker to go alongside the right back. And it looks like I'm going to need 2 midfielders. Now, Paulo's an interesting one because we do have an optional buy on him. But Sporting know what they're doing because the fee they've slapped in was 900,000. My God, we cannot afford that. Like seriously, we cannot afford that. So already, without even thinking about the other players, if they're good enough or not, I'm going to need 4 first teamers to go in this team. So it could be a case of these boys in the reserves and the youth candidates seeing if they're going to be able to step up and looking at them. I don't know if they're going to be. Now, Robert is a 16-year-old centre-back who I had initial high hopes for, but he really has digressed instead of progressed. Haven't given him any game time, to be fair. And some of the others... Now, thankfully, Robert, the striker Robert, has been all right. He's been all right. He's had game time off the bench as an inside forward, and if you look at his development progress chart here, he's definitely moving on up. So he's going the right way, so he can definitely contribute next season. He's only 16. And I did say I was going to tap into the African market, and I have got a player coming in. Got this deal agreed back in January. This is Thierry Cassie. Striker is in the Ivory Coast at the minute. I believe that's where his team is. Yes, he's not absolutely prolific, but he's got good finishing, good composure. Off the ball's decent. Bit of a physical presence, so he will be an option to play up front. Yeah, but if you look at the squad and the sheer lack of bodies in there, when you take the players out that won't be there next season, big pre-season. And wrapping up the season, here's our season stats. We're pretty much top of everything I want to be top of, specifically that pass completion ratio and the average possession, because the way we're playing our football, we need to be excelling at that sort of thing. So it's pre-season now, and Badalona find ourselves in the Premier Federación. We're in Group 1, and this is the goal for the season, simply stay in the league. However, when you look at the season preview, we're quite fancied in 6th place. So I'm quite happy with that. I thought we would be ranked way low down, and if you look at the league table, it is pretty spicy down there with 5 getting relegated. So the aim is to stay in the league, but we've got a little eye on the playoffs as always. Now, recruitment for the pre-season has been tough, I won't lie. We still have not spent a bean, not spent a penny. We're going in with the same tactic, but as you can see there, there's a few new faces in the starting 11. If I look at the transfers, we've managed to bring in 6 players, most of which will play, but some are just backups as well. Now the standouts, Paul Rivera from Real Madrid's B team. So instantly you think he's got a bit of pedigree. Now winger, forward, attacking midfielder, not sure where to play him yet, but as you can see from his attribute range, he's going to be a big talent, and he's only 19 years of age. I kind of want to play him in behind there, so we might give him a little bit of a cheeky retrain. As far as strikers go, Daniel Gonzalez might be the man this season. He's just blooming broke his cheekbone in pre-season, which isn't great, but he looks like he could be the best option to play up front. He comes from Osasuna's B team, released by them. Got ourselves a new right back, an experienced one in Manu Sanchez. Wants to play as a complete wing back, so he's an all-round baller, so I'm excited to see what he can do. There's also a couple of youngsters there. Oscar Hamer, he's going to be shipped out on loan. He's only 16, and this young Cameroon player, remember the African vibe we're going for, he comes in as well, number 3 transfer. The only other player who's going to get a chance to start is Bryce Val. This is an interesting player, so he's been released by Villarreal. I think I'm going to play in midfield as a playmaker. His passing 11, vision's good. He's that much of a baller. He can jump down into libero as well. Some of his mentals aren't great, such as his composure is bizarre, really. It's only 4 despite being a good technical player, so we need to look at that. But he looks like a decent player. So that's the signings this season. At the end of last season, we did manage to get a couple of players in. 3 players, all from Africa. So Thierry Cassie that we saw, the striker, he's going to be a backup player. As is, I'm going to call him Abdo Ba, because I'm not taking that one on. But this is Ba from Senegal, anywhere across the midfield, anywhere across the attacking midfield. He comes in from Coton FC, based in Senegal. The last player is from Botswana. This is why we open up the African database, and it brings about all these players. He's my new backup left back, which means the squad is quite a manageable size. I don't like my squad too big, but don't get me wrong, I could do with a couple more players. The problem I've got is we've busted our wage budget already, because the board just do not like to give us any wage budget. And if you look at the finances, you can probably see why, because we're still $500,000 in the red. So we're going to pretty much have to go with what we've got. So we've got a lot of players from last season, and unfortunately I have busted my link up with Sporting CP. Now they've got a rake of players on the loan list at the minute. There they are. We could have probably had them all, but it's all because of our problems with Jose Silva when they recalled him because of that stupid thing in Football Manager where we played him as a fullback and not a wing back. So now when I go to try and loan one of these players, you can see poor relationship between the two clubs. And at one stage we had 4 players on loan from Sporting. And the quality of some of these players that we could have had this season from this team is really upsetting me. And if I look at my squad, I'm definitely short of at least 1 centre-back. That is the big area of concern. Now, the development centre has us a couple of centre-backs, but as you can see from Robert Puges here, he's not going to end up being a centre-back because his heading is 4. His jumping reach is okay, but he's not strong enough. I'm actually retraining him to be a wing-back, and he might be a fine wing-back, but we are really struggling in that centre-back area. I don't know what to think about this season because the pre-season has been a bit up and down. A lot of these teams are divisions below us, and we haven't exactly blown them away. We did get a good result against Saint Etienne from Ligue 1. Got a 0-0 draw against them right at the start, but despite initial worries about the season, our first game gave us a nice 3-1 win. Pina here to Markel. Boom. Brian Pina, another player that we brought in at the back end of last season. Interesting player. So he's going to play central midfield, the more attacking midfielder. He's going to replace the player we got from Sporting on loan. But his history is interesting. Starts out at Barca, our local rivals. They sell him for $250,000 to Slovakia. Then he goes to Latvia. And now he's ended up back in Spanish football with us. But I think he could be the X factor. Good all-round midfielder. So that's a nice start. But like I say, the main goal here is to get to safety. So let's see where we're at. When we get to Christmas time, fingers crossed, we're doing okay. Welcome back then. It is January. We're just going into the second half of the season. Our stadium looks different, doesn't it? Because we are renting that from Sabadell, who do have a cracking stadium. But ours is just not good enough. So for God knows how long, we're going to be in that stadium. As far as the season goes, well, this goal kind of sums it up. We have had a stunning little first season at this level. We've just lost the last 2 games, which is a bit of a blow, but it does mean that we are sat second, only 3 points off the automatic promotion spots. We've lost 5 matches, and those last 2 games are massively disappointing. But if you look a little bit further down here at the clean sheets, this is what we've done it on. The backbone of this season, surprisingly maybe for us, has been our defensive record. Castro is leading the way with 8 clean sheets. Because in the 19 matches, we've only conceded 18 goals. So we've been super solid, but we're not scoring as many, 27 goals. But the tactic's been working fine. The midfield are getting on well. And the new strike force of Gonzalez, Riviera, just starting to get going. I've moved Gonzalez to a poacher. He was playing deep line forward, but he's going to play a poacher. Just gets a bit further up. He's bagged 5 so far. And behind him, Riviera, that I like to call him, the guy from Real Madrid. He's starting to click. He's got 6 goals, looks good. Other than that, no changes to the tactic at all. It's just been what we used last season. That slow tempo, pretty standard stuff with a mid-block as well. But we've had 6 1-0 wins, and if you look at the squad size, our tiny squad, bless their hearts, they're doing wonders. They are doing wonders. We've had an internal takeover, which kind of eased the financial burden a little bit, but it hasn't meant any additional funds. I can maybe get one player in on loan to help see us through here. But as far as the rest of the season goes, it's going to be a disappointment now if we don't get to the playoffs at least. But if you look at it a bit closer, it is a mad league because 16th place Osasuna have got 23 points. So you couldn't really them out of getting to the playoffs because they're only, 8 points behind the playoffs, even though they're in the relegation zone. So we don't want to get too cocky, even though it's been going really well. As far as the youth team squad, I'm still waiting for players to jump into that first team candidate spot. We have got one who's jumped in there now in Ricard. Not sure what to do with him. His mentals are good, which is always a pretty decent sign. He's a good tackler, he's a good marker. He looks like he could be a defender of some sort of description, but the rest of them, they're kind of struggling a bit. So as far as the team goes, we're third in possession and pass completion ratio. It's us 3 at the top there. We seem to be playing similar ways of styles of play of Ponferradina and Amor Bieta. Similar styles of play. We're not creating as many chances as we said, but the style of play is working pretty well, and there we go, top of the clean sheets. So for the rest of the season, we've just got through the Copa del Rey first round. We've got Racing Santander coming up. We've got to shoot for promotion now. We've got to shoot for it. But the other good news is we've got an absolute load of players here that are about to go out on loan. So I'm hopeful that these will give the players a nice little boost in their development, because the youth candidates coming through for next season is looking good. Now that could be down to the fact that our team aren't great, but it's looking good. So fingers crossed we get another batch of good young players. The good news is the first game back after the winter break is against the team that are bottom of the league. So we could have a chance here just to get back in the swing of it after those 2 straight defeats. And the good news was we did get the victory with a good 4-goal win. Now we just got to see how we do for the rest of the season. And hopefully to help us out on that late journey is Aitor Gismira, a free transfer from Atletico Madrid, and I'm banking on that passing, technique and vision combo for him to be a quality player. So through to the end of the season now, a lot of games our pass map looked like that, where we just tried to pass the opposition to death. The heat maps looked a lot like this, with the number 16 being the deep line playmaker dropping deep, with the left back more attacking slightly than the right back. With 10 games to go, we were still second, but Ponferradina are getting away from us, 5 points clear at the minute. Since the January break, it's been a bit up and down. We're just trying to get our form back. Because Rivera is such a standout player, when we go to his tactic, you can see he's got his personalised tab there. That's because he's got more player instructions than any other player that plays that position. So he's got more direct passing thanks to his flair passing and vision. Add to that, take more risks. I'm going to ask him to cross more often because quite often he gets out wide. After another draw, it was time for us to host the league leaders in a vital match, which was further complicated by first choice right back Manu Sanchez being out for the season, and that meant young development player Robert Pujadas getting promoted to the first team squad. We took the lead from the penalty spot, but they proved why they're the best team in the league as they beat us 2-1. And looking at the league table, we're running out of games now to catch them. It's always a good sign when this comes up on your news feed. That's because right near the end of the season, we're in our worst run of form, probably since we started at the club. Well, blimey me. We've made the playoffs, but let me tell you this. We've only just made them. Check out the league table. We do it by 2 points. We finish 13 points behind the league leaders, Deportivo Aragon, the Lord of the Rings team, and we've just lost to them in our last game of the season 4-2. And you can see since March, we've only won twice. We have been in free fall. I think it's probably down to the fact that my squad are absolutely knackered. I haven't really changed from the tactic. Players have been moved around because of the injuries. New player Gismira hasn't really got going. He's a good player, just hasn't really got going yet. What it means is we're in the playoffs and the first game is against Real Murcia, who are in the other league. Now they finished second in their league. If I can have a little look at it, there they are. They had nearly won their league. They did lose 8 matches, so that league was a bit closer than ours, but this is going to be tough. If you'd asked me like before March, I would have been confident going in, but because that injury to Sanchez, of all players, the right back, it's completely trashed us because he was basically our only out-and-out right back. I've had to chuck Marcos over there, who's a centre-back, and he's not enjoying himself out there. Gonzalez has had a good season. He scored 14 times. Riviera, when he's fit, has been great. He keeps getting injured, but he has scored 11 times. If we can keep them fit, I think we'll have a chance. Andres, he's 34. He's had a good season. He's scored 16 times. He's going to retire. I would use him next season, so I'm going to ask him to change his mind, especially if we don't go up. But getting ready for this next match, I'm going to rest all the players for 2 days. I want them fresh for this one. First leg, we get a very good 2-2 draw. Brian Pina with 2 wonder goals. Here's the first. Check it out. This man has been a real talent this season. Great signing, 8 goals from midfield. He's gave us a great chance for the second leg. Second leg was a goal fest. It didn't start great as we conceded a goal after only 2 minutes to Abraham. Despite that, we kept fighting back. And stupid mistakes meant that Murcia kept going back in front. It looked like it was out of sight at one point. Golden Boy Rivera gave me hope though. But this penalty was the final nail in the coffin as we fail in the playoffs 5-6. Like, I'm devastated, but it's not to be unexpected with the run that we finished the season on. So we go out in the playoffs. I thought we were going to do it after that first leg performance, but the run since March with only 2 wins, we didn't actually deserve to go up. My big worry now is that I've got a lot of this squad who are good enough for this level, have proven it. A lot of this squad are out of contract now. In fact, if I look at it, the year 2026, it's around half of the squad's contracts are up, and a lot of those are starters. So I'm going to try my best to keep hold of them. Otherwise, it's going to be a huge turnover. And as for the tactic, what I wanted to do each season, as we got a little bit higher up, was actually take a couple of instructions away. I mean, we could easily take this away. It's not going to affect things too much. You can see how minimal it is. More often pressing, I've gone with that. Part of me thinks go back to slightly more often and then instruct each player to do a bit of extra pressing. But we'll see for next season, we'll see. So close, but yet so far. Despite that, I was looking forward to a good season, and then this hit me like a ton of bricks. Because of the financial status, we are reverting to semi-professional status. If you're wondering what that means for us, it means we can only offer part-time contracts on a wage of £5 a week. It truly is devastating news for our already tiny squad. The one bit of good news was I did manage to get one player in before that decision was made, and he's far too good for us. Far too good.